Hi there and welcome to the special episode of Capital View where we're joined by Chief Election Commissioner HS Brahma as he prepares to demit office later this month. Mr. Brahma, thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Welcome.
You've had a short but eventful tenure. You've overseen two important elections, Jammu and Kashmir and Delhi. I'm assuming that Jammu and Kashmir was tougher than Delhi?
Sagarika, if you look at the management part of it, yes, J&K was tougher than Delhi. Delhi is a very small limited area, less than 200 square kilometer area. So Delhi didn't give us much problem of management. Other issues are there, in fact. But if you look at really the management part, the deployment of our security staff to ensure that nobody can come across and nobody can create problems. That way the J&K was one of the tough elections in our country.
Did you feel a little slighted when the J&K Chief Minister thanked the Pakistani militants and thanked Pakistan for a peaceful conduct of elections? Did you feel that he was neglecting the work that the Election Commission had done?
You feel a little bit of embarrassment when you ignore our local people of our country, the J&K people who really voted. I would say the problem area that had the maximum output. For example, the area bordering the Indo-Pakistan border. I mean, if you look towards the Gurez, Baramulla, that area, Uri, Poonch area, there you had a solid 70%, 80% voters turnout. Whereas we have in the central part of our J&K, the percentage is definitely lesser. So, though we expect a lesser turnout in the border areas, but in fact, we are really happy to note that in the border area we have higher turnout, better turnout than some of the part of the major part of Indian territory.
So you felt a little bad when the Chief
No,
Minister...
I really felt as an Indian, as a proud Indian, I definitely feel bad that you, I mean, it is a judgment of somebody who would like to speak, but definitely as an Indian, will feel a little bit sad when you say that some foreigners have contributed for the quality of election.
Let's come to the issues that many Chief Election Commissioners have spoken about and that continue to bedevil our democracy. Let's look at money power in elections. Do you feel that the role of money power is still too great in elections?
We are normally asked 4 major questions. As an election commissioner or a chief election commissioner, wherever you went, the 4th question will be asked to election commission. They pose these 4 questions. Number 1, how will you control the money power and muscle power, one category. 2, how are you going to ensure that there is a transparency. Number 3, how you will implement the MCC impartiality. And 4, how will you control the use of media for the media or technological part, the digital media basically. These are the 4 major issues. Of all these 4 major issues, the money and muscle are the real one.
But would you say that you managed to control muscle power? Because in the sense booth capturing and all that has ended, but money power you are still not being able to control.
Sagarika, money power election commission alone won't be able to do it, because technically speaking, if you look at for last 65 years of our election, Indian election, since 1951 onwards till 2014 election we had, money always had a play in the elections. And the money and muscle power always tilts in favor of the person who can afford to spend more money, who can deploy more muscle.
Right. I know that you're a great supporter of technology in the electoral process and in the voting process. How can the use of technology within the voting process help to curb these issues of money power and muscle power?
The minute you use the technology, 2 things will happen. Number 1, it creates a level playing field. Technology never creates A or B. It creates, as far as election commission is concerned, I'm talking about general one. As far as election commission is concerned, the minute you use the technology like EVM machine, okay, or any other SMS or your roles, etc., it provides you a openness general public. The minute, now I'll give you example. The minute you keep the electoral roll in the pocket of our officers, in the pocket of the, say, XYZ, our employees, or our any other organizations, or our government, then you are not able, you can always deny the other party who are weaker. Suppose you have only electoral roll, only manual form. What used to happen in before early period, say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, role has become monopoly because the knowledge is always a power.
Right.
So if you are aware that if you are only monopolizing the role itself, denying the same to the other political party or weaker party, independent party or non-entity party, then there is no level playing field immediately.
Right,
so now with the electoral roll being published, visible globally, not only in India, today from 25th of January 2015, we have got the electoral roll, we have got voters service portal, which we have introduced from 25th of January 2015, 4 months pehle. So through the electoral roll, that portal, anybody anywhere in the world, you can see the voters roll of India.
The Election Commission has announced the limits for how much money you can spend.
Yeah,
70 lakhs for Lok Sabha, 28 lakhs I think for Assembly. Are these unrealistic? Because I mean, you know, I'm sure the candidates are spending many times that amount. Are these figures unrealistic?
It is a fact. The election in India is very costly both for the candidate party and also government. We from the government of India or state government, we normally spend for the conduct of election of assembly. I'm talking only about parliament. Parliament comprises about 6 to 7 or 8 assembly segments.
Right.
Or maybe more also. But generally it normally comes...
Because I just want to point out that in reports in recent elections in Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra, candidates in assembly elections have spent 15 to 20 crore.
That is okay from their point of view.
I'm sure the Lok Sabha must be double that.
Multiply by half a dozen time because there will be 6, 7 constituencies.
Right.
Now Sagarika here.
20 crore multiplied by 6.
See, why I am saying it is a costly affair because we also spend about 8 to 10 crores for conduct of election for the assembly. Government itself spends.
So are these figures unrealistic?
No, this candidate political party spending is at another another compartment, silo. From government of India, state government of all these 36 states in UTs, we also spend another 8 to 10 crores average per assembly segment. Right. But as you rightly mentioned in the report of your paper report saying that Andhra Pradesh is a fact that our people spend more than what it is being reported in our expenditure.
Do you feel that most of the candidates who are today in Lok Sabha, that most of them have filed election expenses honestly?
Most of them filed, yes. Parliament.
Majority of parliamentarians today have filed.
They filed.
Honestly, their election expenses?
Majority have filed, yes. Because that's it, you understand the distinction between the candidate fighting in the parliament, because most of the cost of expenditure of publicity campaign by major national parties are borne by the party. See, there is a limit on the candidate.
But the propaganda and the publicity campaign runs into thousands of crores.
That's exactly borne by your political party because there is no ceiling in a political party.
So do you believe that the BJP spent 500 to 600 crore on the advertising and publicity campaign that's being said?
Definitely, they must have spent, yes.
Which state, in your opinion, is the worst when it comes to money power and muscle power?
Basically, all South Indian states.
All South Indian states. Why is that?
They are more advanced, more industrially forward, they are financially more affluent, they have lots of enterprises. So, all our candidates from the South, they are not only they are basically coming from the affluent section of the community.
Right.
They have a big industrial background, they have a big business background. And by and large, even though their agriculture, their productivity is very high. Right. And they produce multiple crops. That's why if you look at the entire South India, they grow. So if you look at our Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, I mean Kerala, of course, you leave it aside. Kerala is not that type, but definitely Andhra, T&K, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. They are the muscle of the money power because they have a
muscle of the money power.
Because
money power and muscle power.
I mean, they are basically, I don't know, I don't say about muscle power because money is their real strength. Because they are basically coming from the affluent section, number one. Right. Most of them are from business background, number one, industry background, and even though they are farmers, they may be from farming community.
They have a lot of cash.
But they have a lot of farming capability. They also involved in some other industrial activity, commercial activity. Therefore, and they are more affluent. If you look at the overall Indian context, the South Indian farmers, South Indian industrialists, businessmen, they are much more affluent than anywhere in India.
Right. Let's come back to technology. You know, before the Delhi elections, Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi Chief Minister, said, but I'm worried that the EVMs will be tampered with. There is a feeling that even electronic voting machines can be tampered with.
No, no, no. I will never accept, because it is nobody in this world has proven that our EVM. I'm not certifying about other countries' EVM machine where they have a different system. But our Indian EVM machine, which are produced by our own ECIL, Electronic Corporation of India Limited, our BEL machine, Bharat, Electronic Limited.
Right.
They are the machine which are very simple and very durable machines. And nobody in this country has proven beyond doubt that anybody can tamper. Unless you have given that machine for 2-3 months long to manipulate. I mean, why do you manipulate? Because any machine that is going to be used in election will be tested not once, it will be tested half a dozen times. And the day of polling, you are doubting, because nobody knows which machine is going to which polling station. We have got, in this country, we have got about 10 lakhs polling stations. Right. Nobody knows which machine is going to which 10 lakhs.
Let's come to impersonation of candidates. You know, that's another issue. That supposing a candidate has a very common name, then political parties will put up other candidates with a similar sounding name to confuse the voter. So are you planning to put photos of the candidates?
Yeah, from May 1st, 2015, we have made it compulsory that in the polling station or in all our ballot in the buttons, there will be not only name, party, but also photo also.
Photo also. You have taken a keen interest in e-voting and in voting by NRIs and voting for disabled people. Can you tell us a little bit more about these initiatives?
Sagarika, ultimately look at this country. Today we have got 85 crores population, equal to 10 lakh polling stations. Imagine by 2030, we will have 1 billion 100 crores voters. Today in 2015, 1st January, we have got 85 crores voters. By 2030, we may be targeting about 100 crores, 100 crores voter hoga hamara. Then, I mean, we have to think seriously. How do we manage? How do you allow people to vote with the least possible obstruction or hindrance? And what do you do about the crore of Indians who are living outside? As a democratic country, can you deny your own citizens who are living in outside as an employee?
So that's where e-voting comes in.
Exactly. Not today, but our system will, our younger generation will push us to that direction. Today we have got about 15 lakh armed forces. We have got about some 22 and 25 lakhs paramilitary forces. Then half the armies are in the front, half the armies are in the civilian area.
So no option but to provide them
ultimately, there will be a pressure. You have seen our NRIs, Government of India, our Parliament.
How will you ensure that that system remains foolproof? Because
no,
that
is exactly.
You can go on to and click, it can be hacked.
That is exactly we are looking for this Aadhaar seeding.
Okay.
That's why Sagarika Ghose will have only one name, you will have only one identity. So suppose you want to vote by internet or, I mean that system already available globally also. I mean not everywhere using it. Small country in Scandinavian countries, Latvia and all, they are doing it, but it requires to be started. You know, in the internet voting, e-voting, only two things are required. How to ensure security.
Exactly.
How to ensure the right person votes. How to ensure the right person vote is calculated against particular candidate. Because there are various way of doing it technically. If you have a internet voting, let it not be reported all the way coming to Delhi. You can have it locally also. Suppose you are living in Western Europe, say in UK. Right. You can have a polling station in UK, designated place in UK. You can have a designated polling station on the Indian embassy or consulate, or you can identify some few more centers where you go as a designated place, like a mamul voting. Instead of going to polling station, like we all go, you go to this place, you do it. Suppose if you have fear of that.
So you're saying that in the future, e-voting is going to become a reality of the electoral process.
It is a question of time, Sagarika. It is a question of time. I mean, that will ensure that every Indian citizen, 100 crores Indian citizens, voters will be there by 2030.
Right. You're giving us lots of insights on the electoral process. Let's take a short break at this point and come back with lots more with HS Brahma on the other side. Welcome back to Capital View. We're talking to Chief Election Commissioner HS Brahma as he prepares to demit office later this month. We're talking about how the various anomalies of the electoral process can be cleaned up. Is state funding the only way to curb money power in elections?
No, there are strong views in favor of, that you remember in old 1990s, late 90s, Indrajit Gupta report recommendation.
Right.
Yeah. It clearly mentioned
where
that.
do you stand on state
It
funding?
is one of the very major and one of the solid recommendation of that on the electoral reform by Indrajit Gupta committee.
Do you believe that state funding has to happen?
Actually, you have to look at two things. You see, state funding, if you look at it, the abuse of money power, abuse of, as you rightly asked, how many people are filing correct accounts, how many people are using they are really limiting themselves the expenditure. That kind of allegation will go the day we go for a state funding.
Right.
But equally, there is a strong opposition to that state funding. Is that what is the guarantee that your money will be again recycled for a black money also? Few days back, we had a seminar conducted by Election Commissioner only few days back, last week, where majority political parties, we had about 40 political parties joining the seminar. It was unanimous, majority, I would say unanimous. About 80% of the participants in their seminar supported the state funding, because they didn't believe in the state funding by cash, but by kind. For example, giving them role, we have giving it, say, funding for All India Radio, Doordarshan, and also for private things. You give us slot. Then there is a request that you kindly pay for our petrol, fuel, vehicle hiring. You don't give us the cash, you give us the kind only. You give the coupon to us, we will take whenever you go, we will use the petrol, diesel, whatever. There is strong suggestion, there are very solid suggestion also. If
but you have reservations about
we
going
Election
completely
Commission till
with
today,
funding.
I mean our standards, our stand all along has been that this particular state funding needs to be further studied thoroughly, and there should be a strong legal backing. Number one, regarding how to control the black money.
Let's talk a little bit about these multi-phase elections. There's a feeling that when you have these multi-phase elections, like in Jharkhand or in Jammu and Kashmir, doesn't that skew the electoral process?
No political party or candidates, to be frank with you, no political party or candidates wants a very long drawn multi-phased election. It costs money. It costs also lots of heart burning. It is a really operational problem.
Yes.
I think one way to, that's why I was saying that step by step, Election Commission should try to rely more on the local police forces for conduct of elections, rather than deploying too much of armed forces like our military, our not military defense service, our paramilitary forces. Because the more you depend on the paramilitary forces for the elections, this problem will continue. That's why I have been always saying that we should reduce unless it is required, why the real forces are required, say for example left-wing extremist area or certain very bad area. Otherwise, like urban area like Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, why you require forces? Such a massive number. I mean, we will have to, Election Commission also review its stand, whether every polling station should deploy a half a dozen constables.
So you don't need these big multi-phase elections, according to you?
No, we can have it, but you don't have to make it some 6 phases or 5 phases. Like you can finish up in say 3 phases or 2 phases or 5 phases.
Because the model code of conduct goes for a 6. Because if you say that 48 hours before you can't campaign,
the model code will be
but how will you enforce that? Because one constituency is voting, the other constituency is campaigning.
That's why I said the more you have phases, the more the operational problem, it creates unnecessary problem to both implementer as well as to other people also, campaigner also, the candidate also.
Right.
I mean, we have to find a biomedia where we do not go beyond a threshold level. Definitely, in my personal opinion, no election should have more than 4 phases. The biggest challenge today, you don't have to campaign in Delhi. Suppose you are having election in Northeast India. You don't have to go to all the way to Northeast. You can stay in Calcutta or stay in Delhi or
and disseminate campaigning.
You use the TV, radio, and or you can stand in the Tamil Nadu, Madras, Chennai. From there also you can operate. Today, the digital media, the internet, the TV, radio, communication system, the latest communication system has really made certain things invalid. I mean,
invalid.
Certain now, how do you?
So this 48-hour limit on campaigning
absolutely.
is
For example,
invalid.
it is almost become useless. For example,
Useless.
if you don't physically campaign, but it doesn't stop you from
Accessing
through
the
your
net.
SMS or through your digital media. You can address the TV video. Who prevents you? What is the law we can do? Which is the law that can prevent you from lecturing?
Right.
Sitting in US or sitting in Delhi or Mumbai. So these laws are prepared in 1950s. So some of our laws, not only Election Commission should, what I would say, to change the certain rule of the game, but Election Commission itself has to undergo certain changes now, rules and regulations. Some of the rules and regulations of Election Commission also requires to be updated.
Are you winning the battle against paid news?
Definitely, Election Commission, as on today, our combat against paid news, we are not achieving any major success.
What about hate speech? You know, when candidates are engaging in hate speak or caste speak or communal speak or any kind of prejudicial speak, do you feel that the Election Commission is powerless? You can send a notice, but what else can you do? Should there be stronger rules and regulations?
No, Sagarika, basically why the hate speech comes? Basically on two things. Number one, we also fail to impress upon the candidates and political parties the do's and don'ts. Number one, we must also educate our people, educate our parties also, and also their candidates. And whenever we have addressed the higher level of political party, they are like chairperson, or write to their general secretary, or they write to their treasurer, or president of the party, actions are very prompt. I don't think so Election Commission requires any more additional power required.
You have banned exit polls during the multi-phase elections. Is this realistic as well? Because many are saying that exit polls don't really influence voter behavior. So do exit polls actually influence voter behavior, that they have to be banned during elections, they have to be banned during multi-phase elections?
Definitely in a backward area, in a very backward area, people who are illiterate, they are not having any access to too many information system.
But do you really believe they'll see an exit poll and get influenced by the way they vote?
Yes, to a certain extent. Illiterate people who are, suppose there are people sitting on the fence, you know that these two candidates are fighting, and they know that they are very closely fought battle. So if somebody in the last nick of the moment say around say election going to be over by say polling will go to over say around 5:30 or 5:45, suppose you spread rumor at 4:30 or 3:30 that so and so party is going to lose or so and so candidate is going to lose, people who are sitting on the fence, they'll jump to the other party who is going to win. So why you waste your vote to a fellow who is going to lose?
What's the biggest achievement of the Election Commission so far, and what is the biggest weakness?
I'll reply in two sentences, Sagarika. The biggest achievement of our Election Commission for the last 65 years has been its credibility. Biggest success, I was telling you, is that nobody in this country or nobody in this world has ever doubted or ever commented about the quality of election conducted by Election Commission. I mean, I can tell you honestly, for the last 65 years, we have conducted so many parliaments. We have conducted how many? Latest 2014 election.
Yes, innumerable.
Then we have conducted more than 350 state election.
Right.
And we have done the latest general election of 2014. I can tell you, not a single party, not a single political organizations, or not a single election, I mean not a single candidate, loser or winner will never complain, but no loser in this country has ever complained about the unfairness or irregularities in conduct of elections,
right,
or misusing anything bias as an election.
Do the politicians respect the Election Commission?
100%.
But or are they constantly, have politicians approached you for favors?
Nobody come for favor. I'm here for last 5 years.
No politician has approached you for a favor?
Why should they come for a favor? They come, they say, sir, this problem is here. Now the current issue is that in 2006, we amended the qualification, the parameter of how to declare certain political party as a national party, or they are going to be a regional party.
Right.
How can a regional party can become a national party? Or how can a national party can become a regional party?
What is the biggest weakness of the election?
Because weakness of the Election Commission, my opinion, my personal opinion, is to be not open to public debate, discussion. And
HS Brahma, wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Sagarika.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. That's it on Capital View with Chief Election Commissioner HS Brahma, who retires later this month. Thanks so much for watching. Join us again next week.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.